Mr. Pravin Agarwala, co-founder and CEO Betterplace, who shall be presenting the chairman's opening remarks. Mr. Pravin is the co-founder and group CEO of Betterplace, Asia's largest SaaS and frontline work management platform. Pravin has always been interested in solving problems being faced by enterprises when it comes to their workflows and business management. Before co-founding Betterplace and Business Management, Pravin was the Vice President and Global Head of Business for SAP Business by Design, a cloud ERP project. Through his professional endeavors, he has gathered 20 plus years of experience in SaaS, cloud strategy, CRM, and people management. His love for finding solutions through tech has also placed him in a dual role of being an investor and advisor in several tech startups. So let's welcome Mr. Pravin Agarwal with a big round of applause.
So good morning. The session was supposed to start at 9. Sorry for that. I was telling the organizers that you have to keep the traffic in mind when you are in Bangalore. You cannot just plan everything in a perfect way. So sorry for that. What I'll do is in next 15 odd minutes, I'll basically talk about what's the frontline ecosystem, right? I'm not sure how many of you deal with frontline workforce who could be your, let's say, a delivery boy in manufacturing, the shop floor, the retail, BFSI, and so on. Can you raise your hands? How many of you deal with frontline workforce? Very few here. Nevertheless, this will be a very interesting understanding in terms of what does this mean for large population that we interact day in, day out, right? What is happening with them? I used to work with SAP and I used to head cloud ERP called Business by Design globally. And when we started Betterplace 9 years back, it was an eye-opening thing for me personally as well, right? Over 9 years, we have learned more than what I had ever imagined in terms of what's happening with this ecosystem, right? So I'll share some of those insights and leave you with some thoughts so that when you go back, you would be able to kind of invest your time, understand it better, and perhaps bring some of those learnings in your organization or organizations that you interact with in different ways, right? Is the slide up now? Okay, so before we get into that, how many of you know the number of frontline workforce in India today? Any guesses? How many frontline workforce would be there in India today? Any number? 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, 100 crore, 500 crore?
Yes, at least 100 crores.
Yeah, that's a population close to 140 crore. If you include everyone, that's roughly 550 million people. That's 55 crore people, right? 55 crore people. That is including agri-tech and everything. If you look into more formal economy, where some kind of data is there, PF, ESI, and other things, that's roughly 155 million people. 15 crore people, right? 15.5 crore people to be more accurate with that. But these numbers are changing every day, right? By 2030, the formal economy in frontline will be 220 million people. That's a large number, right? And we are all, now the slide's up, so I can start with that. But we are all in HR community, and you'll be surprised that while we all use some kind of technology for our white-collar, desk intelligent knowledge workers, we hardly use any technology for frontline, right? And that is the most eye-opening thing for me when I moved out of SAP and started Betterplace, right? So let me give you certain, this works? Okay, just to give you, we are basically a platform, entire solution as Betterplace, catering to all the requirements of frontline workforce. We operate in India. also in Southeast Asia, Middle East, and just launched in US as well, right? Next slide. This is the advantage and disadvantage of the first session where technology, I always used to, and even today, I try to figure out how to do a video conference without any issues. And I hope one day we'll have a solution where you stand and video conference starts working. You can do this page down as well. Page down will be okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so let me share some numbers with you, right? And these numbers you might have encountered in past, you might have read in some places. I have shared some of this data also in past with different colleagues and partners and so on. But to give you certain ideas, right? When we think about attrition, right? When we think about attrition, we are kind of worried when it's a knowledge worker that we are doing 10% annualized attrition, 20% annualized attrition, 30%, it's going up to 40%, right? In frontline, unfortunately, the monthly attrition, so no one counts annualized attrition there because so much, right? The monthly attrition is roughly 15% and can go up to 20 to 25% as well, right? So the whole organization changes at least twice or thrice in a year. Twice or thrice in a year. This is a massive challenge that the industry is facing, right? Every day. And people are used to it. As an organization, we got used to it because we do not know what is the solution. Right? We just as a perennial process, we keep hiring people day in, day out, and the systems are running, which are most of the time inefficient in nature, right? One of the things that which I speak which is very close to my heart and I speak very loudly about is the benefits that those individuals get access to, right? How many of you in this room do not have, let's say, a credit card? Or you applied for a loan and you didn't get it? Right? Hardly any, right? And no one actually in this room. That is the case with roughly 10% of the population in India. But 90% of the population, right, they do not get it. They do not get it, right? Only 1% of the 550 million working population somehow get access to credit or benefits. Could be insurance, could be loan, could be personal loan, card, banking, and other things. Thank God that there is a Jan Dhan Yojana now that everyone has a banking, but still it's not where it should be, right? That is the challenge they face. Now, do you know why this challenge? Why they do not have access to a credit card or a loan? Because there is no data about them. All of us have sufficient and more data, whether this is a CIBIL score, employment history, and things like that, right? This population, unfortunately, has no data. And because there is no data, the decision making is kind of very, very difficult, right? Other thing which is something we are trying to push, and my colleague Anuj will speak about that in a while, is skilling, right? We all talk about upskilling, we all talk about building our knowledge, we run multiple different programs, we have performance management system for all knowledge workers, right? We do hours of training and we send people in different frontline. Unfortunately, one is because of the attrition is very high. The other is that everyone is treating them as warm bodies that you come, do the task and go. I don't care about your career movement. Skilling is not an important subject for most of the population, right? But what is happening today? Because you are not skilling people, the productivity is going down, right? So at the end of the day, it's the company, it's the organization that is suffering because you are not upskilling sufficiently your workforce. Now the question also comes, I skill the person will leave me in 3 months, 4 months, then what will happen? My knowledge is gone, right? But everyone is thinking in the same way, right? So someone who is coming to you is also coming skilled from somewhere else, right? So overall, the level of knowledge of the industry will go up. But also keep in mind that India is moving into China plus one strategy in terms of manufacturing, right? A lot of manufacturing is moving from China, going into other countries. India would be one of the driving force. Vietnam and Taiwan and others are also catching up rapidly. But India would be one of the hubs. What would be the biggest challenge that India will face is the skilled workforce, right? Fortunately, everyone has realized now, whether this is organization, government, and so on. I mean, in the recent budget, 1.6 lakh crore is created for upskilling. I hope this goes in the right direction. But we all can participate. We all can participate in upskilling of our workforce. Not only frontline. I mean, we are doing enough for others as well. But for frontline becomes very, 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 very important, right? We work with now hundreds of organizations across the world, and this is one of the. I need to get skill as well. Yeah, so I am always logged when I talk about skilling. Now the slides are gone. No worries. So that's one of the things that I was talking about in terms of upskilling percentage, right? Similarly, if you look at let's say the number of people moving migration or women participation, right? If I talk about women participation, for example, there's only 3% women participating in frontline ecosystem, right? Only 3%. Now, if you look at entire frontline, the percentage is much higher, right? Because you have the agri-tech and the other industries where they do it, but that's very informal in nature, right? 3% only. Now, what is the challenge with that? The challenge with that is that most of the man, they tend to migrate from cities like Bihar, UP, Jharkhand, Northeast, and so on. But women does not like to migrate because of multiple different reasons. It could be safety reason, it could be home needs, it could be being closer to family and kids and so on. So we are working on a program where you can create a radius of 5 kilometers to 15 kilometers, enough job for them, and that we run as a project in partnership with BII and multiple other investors to create that ecosystem where we can do it, right? So the women participation, our goal is that by 2030, we take it, so it was 1% in 2015. Today it was 3%, now it has gone up to 6%. Our goal is to take it to 20% by 2030. And we are doing a lot of work with governments, with organizations. Most of the time when I speak to an organization that why you should have a women participation, and I'm so happy to see many women participants here as well. But why do you have it? They say we have to do ESG, right? Environment, social governance, this will be one parameter. But they miss one most important fact, and nothing against the man counterparts here, but the productivity goes up when you have women participants in your organization. And this is established. If you are in warehouse, the productivity goes up. If you are in manufacturing, if you are in retail, the productivity goes up. The productivity goes up because they are more disciplined. The attrition goes down. They understand their job, do it in a very organized way. They can do multitasking. So most of the time, I go and tell organizations, you should not do this activity of increasing your women participation because you have to do ESG. Forget about that part. You should do because there is a business reason behind it, and that is productivity, outcome, profitability, and so on. And people start applying that then, right? And that is the parameter that everyone should drive this important activity. And I strongly believe that as this economy will move from 155 million people to 220 million, and the contribution towards the entire 5 trillion economy is going to happen, frontline with women participation would be a very important factor, right? The other thing which, and I mentioned briefly in the very beginning, is that most of us, we use our own HRMS system and multiple other systems, whether it is SAP, Oracle, Workday, Darrenbox, and so on and so forth, from day one that we join an organization, right? We come in, we start using it. Less than 15%, and it was even lesser 10 years back, right? They use some system for managing the frontline workforce, right? After COVID, this has gone up dramatically. Before COVID, it was even less, right? what we do, someone comes to the office, brings a physical printout of the resume or whatever documents they have, give it to us, we take it, write it in Excel, store it somewhere, life goes on. You want to train the people, call them in a room, say something, whether they understand or not, tell them this is what you need to do, go and do the job, right? The guy leaves the company, comes back after 3 months, you repeat the same process again because you do not know is the same guy or not, right? I give you my Aadhaar card first time, second time I come, give you my PAN card, you will not know I'm the same person or not. Reason? There is no system, right? You do attendance through a physical device or a biometric device or on a register. Whether I have done my 8 hours of work, I have done my 15 hours of work, am I compliant or not? No one knows. Life goes on like that. And we all got used to it, unfortunately, because we thought this is how it runs. We all thought, and when I say we, I'm talking about everyone who deals with frontline ecosystem as HR, operations, and so on. We thought this is how it runs because this is how it used to run, and everything is perfectly fine. But actually, it is not, right? How much time I have? 5 minutes. And you have added my initial 5 minutes also. I'm just kidding. I'm a Marwadi, so as much as you can get, you take it, right? Never leave behind anything. Right, so there are 4 things that we believe are very important. We call it the 4 E's. I'll go a little faster. The idea was to focus on some of those hard factors. Efficiency, very important. At the end of the day, when you use system, I always tell this thing, when you go and buy an apple, you're not buying something to fill your hunger, you're actually buying health. Similarly, when you're buying software, you're not buying technology, you are buying efficiency, right? So efficiency becomes very crucial. Expense, the cost has to go down. At the end of the day, if you have a technology that increases your cost, it's not going to help, right? So the cost has to go down, so expense is very important. Engagement, unfortunately, again, I'm sure that we all are used to sending those automatic messages, happy birthday, this thing, that thing, and all to all our colleagues, and it comes every day, whenever the birthday is there. But is it done for your frontline workforce? Unfortunately not. How do you engage with them? How do you make them feel that they are also part of your organization? Typically, we don't do that. This is an opportunity for us to do that as well, right? Engagement. And finally, empowerment. Give them access to finance, right? If I'm working for Betterplace as a frontline workforce and I go to a bank, apply for a loan, I get it, I feel good about it, right? Because I'm working for Betterplace and I'm getting a loan, that is what empowerment means for millions of people in the country today, right? It's not working again. If you can do page down, please. Yeah. So this just very brief. I'll just take 2 or 3 more minutes. We at Betterplace, we thought about all these problems and we said, there's no point in solving one problem at a time for this large organization, right? We can solve the skilling problem, we can solve the attendance problem, we can solve the credit problem. We believe very strongly that it has to be a platform that solves a problem end to end, keeping in mind organization, the HR, as well as the individual, right? So we created this entire platform, which solves from your hiring, onboarding, to your exit of the resource. We call it the platform solution. On top of that, we created a layer of platform services, and finally, financial access, right? We work with multiple organizations in India, like Reliance, like an Aditya Birla Capital, or a Zepto, and so on. Similarly, we work with likes of Shopee and Credivo in Indonesia, Shoba, and others in Malaysia, Dubai, and so on, right? So there are multiple organizations that we work for the entire platform. Yeah, so this basically shows the entire gamut of things. I will not go into detail. We have a booth. I would invite all of you to visit us and would love to get your feedback on what we are doing and how we can make it even better than what it is today. Some of the customers that we work with, what I would like to highlight here is that most of the organizations that we work with, they have a large workforce, right? When we brought the solution, they were a little hesitant in the beginning whether the adoption will happen because people are not educated enough. Would they use a learning system? How would they use it? Would they be able to manage their attendance, payroll, compliance automatically on a mobile device and so on? Surprisingly, everyone uses it. We thought, and we all think, that we have all the knowledge and they do not have. But the usage of technology by your frontline, by a security guard, delivery boy, by a guy on the retail and so on is much higher than what we do, right? All you need to do is solve their problem. And that is the reason most of the organizations that you see here and more that we work with are super excited with the system that we provide to them. That's it. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely convinced, and we have done this partnership with Gain Skills earlier as well. This day is going to be fantastic, a lot of learning, and I'm looking forward to meet all of you and learn more and forge a partnership for taking this initiative forward. Thank you so much for listening to me and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pravin Agarwal. A big round of applause for him. I would like to request Mr. Nagana Gowda to felicitate Mr. Pravin Agarwal.